Hello guys, full time in the North London derby, and North London is red again. Arsenal have won it by 1-0 away from home. Gabriel with the goal from a set piece, and that is a fantastic result. I mean, listen, we all have beaten Spurs. Winning any derby is good. Winning away from home is especially good, although we are making a bit of a habit of it over the last few years. But winning this one in particular, I think will feel special to Mikel Arteta after the week that's been, the international break, injuries for Calafiori, Martin Odegaard, Alexander Zinchenko unavailable today. And yet, Arsenal have overcome. And it was not our best 11. Declan Rice suspended too. A heavily changed midfield, reshaped midfield, really. And yet, we have come through with a huge result. Other context to consider is, of course, that we face Manchester City at the end of a huge week next week, in what will be a massive clash. Could be a really important clash in terms of how the Premier League title turns out, and to go there with the security of a win with 3 points is tremendous. So absolutely thrilled with that. And I guess the final piece of context that's relevant is that this is the week that Mikel Arteta signed and announced his new contract to lead Arsenal for another 3 years. It's, a week in which he has shown his commitment to the group, to the club, and the players have responded in kind. I don't know what Mikel Arteta's team talk would have been today, but I do wonder if that might have been part of it. I've shown my commitment and now I need to see yours, because they all showed it to a man. It was a terrific team performance defensively. That's what someone said to me in the run-up to the game. If Spurs want to beat Arsenal, they're going to have to score. And that is easier said than done against a team that is this good defensively. Yes, we've got talent. Yes, we've got physicality. But that is combined with enormous commitment to the defensive effort. I mean, you could hear Gary Neville on commentary marvelling at it. Arsenal are absolutely resolute in the fact they do not want to concede goals. And it's something that goes right through the team. From goalkeeper, in David Raya, who I thought had another really good day today, continued his strong start to the season, all the way through to the guys leading the line, the likes of Kai Havertz and Gabriel Martinelli, who I thought worked incredibly hard, Bukayo Saka. They do all deserve some mention, and we'll get to that. Let's start with the goal scorer, though, Gabriel. What can you say? This was at both ends of the pitch a dominant match-winning display. He actually made a crucial block in his own penalty area, I think from Brennan Johnson, just before we scored. And then, we win a corner, he goes up the other end of the pitch, rises high, completely unchallenged by the Spurs goalkeeper, who is sort of almost pegged to his line in fear. And Gabriel just powers the header straight past him. We've seen it do it so many times. I think it's 15 Premier League goals for him now. He's the best. He's the very best in the league at attacking the ball and scoring goals from that centre-half position. So, but this was a game that really had everything from him. Several really important, well-timed challenges in the box. I thought he was superb. Obviously, his partnership with Saliba is so important. I'm so glad that we haven't mucked around with that at the start of this season, a bit like we did last year. We're playing them both consistently and allowing that back four to settle in, to bed in. At times from Arsenal, this was a really classic 4-4-2. Ostensibly in the midfield he went with Jorginho, Partey and Havertz, but out of possession it was a straight 4-4-2. Jorginho and Partey playing as midfield pair, Havertz joining Trossard in leading the press from the front, and then that back four who were outstanding on the day. The referee, I thought, looked like he'd lost a bit of control of it in the first half. There were a lot of bookings given out, and I worried that a red card was kind of inevitable. Not for Jurriën Timber, I must say. I thought the idea that might have been a red, which was proposed by Jamie Redknapp at half-time on Sky, was way off. He was putting his foot on the ball to control it. Studs didn't even really come down on the player's shin. But anyhow, once we got the goal, the way in which we shut down the game was outstanding. I think Spurs had one, maybe two shots after we'd taken the lead. If we'd maybe executed a little bit better in some situations, who knows, we might even have caught them on the break. They were the two threats for us today, weren't they? The counter-attack and the break. And I think when we look back at the counter-attacking opportunities we had, we might have a few regrets. You know, Gabriel Martinelli, I thought, worked incredibly hard and offered so much threat, carried so much threat, but as has been the case for him of late, maybe the final decision wasn't quite there. I don't want to come down hard on him because I thought he was the right pick today. In some respects, he was the only choice we could make, and I think if we were going to get something on that counter attack, it felt like it was going to come down his side. I felt like he had the better of Pedro Porro on that flank. Maybe just the final ball, the final shot, the final execution is that piece that is eluding him at this point in time. Saka, look, creates another goal. Let's work backwards. Trossard played up front and I thought did pretty well. I think there's a very high chance that, you know, with Martin Odegaard unlikely to be back for some weeks now, I think Trossard we might see a fair bit of him in that number 9 role with Havertz dropping into midfield. Because as I say, our possession, it just becomes that kind of 4-4-2. I particularly loved the way Trossard turned it round the corner for Martinelli to race through, but he could only shoot too close to Vicario. Havertz I thought was excellent. You know, really, really good. I don't think it's his best position, but he offered so much there. His stamina, his work rate, his positional intelligence, his ability to switch between a midfield role and an attacking role, his ability to link up with Trossard and others. I thought it was really good from him. Jorginho and Partey, you know, Jorginho to me looked like a player who hasn't really played any Premier League minutes until now, and Partey looked like he's looked to me for the last few months, to be honest, which is a player who's, you know, not the force he used to be. There's a very good chance they'll both be playing at the Etihad though, so we'll see what happens. I think Jorginho looks like a guy who needs some more minutes to get him up to speed. Maybe he'll get those once the cup competitions come into play. Jurrien Timber I thought was very good at left back. You know, this was not a game where we saw him doing a vast amount of drifting into midfield, picking up central positions. It was a game where he defended one-on-one extremely well, and that was a big part of why he was brought here. I thought was a really, really strong performance from him. You know, he's still regaining his sharpness, he's still regaining his best form, he's still adapting to that position on the left-hand side, and who knows if it will continue to be his long-term position, but I thought on the day he did extremely well. Saliba and Gabriel, we've spoken about Gabriel in particular, absolutely imperious. Raya's handling, very good, made one very smart save in the first half, but crucially alleviates pressure by coming and collecting crosses, and in a game like this, when you're defending that slender lead, that's exactly what you need. Ben White, I actually didn't think Ben White had quite his best game today. I'd need to watch it again to be sure. I just felt in the first half there were a couple of moments he was caught out with a pass where maybe we overplayed a bit playing out. But he is part of the best back four in the Premier League. You know, the best defensive team, I think, in the Premier League. So, we even saw some interesting cameos from the bench. Gabriel Jesus back and available. That's great news, especially in context of the other players we lost through injury. Raheem Sterling off the bench for a debut. And Ethan Nwaneri getting his first Premier League minutes of the season, albeit in a kind of fairly responsibility-free role, operating as a sort of false 9. Fascinating that Arteta saw fit to use him, and a big show of faith in a game of this magnitude. This is just what we needed, as I say, ahead of what's going to be a really big week. Liverpool slipped up yesterday. Manchester City very much didn't slip up, came from behind to beat Brentford, and Erling Haaland is just on insane form at the moment. But if there's anybody who can stop him, it might be this Arsenal team, it might be William Saliba, and it might be Gabriel, because those two have done it in the past, and they look like they're playing close to the top of their game. I just thought Gabriel was magnificent today, and Saliba gets a lot of plaudits, and I think they both help each other enormously. They're a great partnership. But for me, this was Gabriel's day, and I'm chuffed for him. The work he puts in training, outside of his training, in terms of his nutrition, his exercise, his strength and conditioning work, you know, his all-round fitness, his mental approach to the game. He is a very different man now to the one who arrived at Arsenal a few years ago. He's someone who takes enormous responsibility and pride in what he does, and today is the reward for all that work. So I'm really thrilled for him. That's it really, guys. Hopefully I'll have a couple more of these for you over the next 7 days. And thank you for watching. If you are keen to get your hands on some Let's Do This merch, we have some new colourways available in that over at www.lesbuydis.com. We've got a new sort of black, red and green version, which I think after today's result in that kit might be quite popular. But thanks for watching anyway, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. North London is red. And my room here is what, pink, green, bit of everything. But yeah, to each their own. Bye.